"Dad, I want my share of the inheritance now." The words hung in the air, shocking everyone around. The father felt a stab of pain in his heart as he realized the weight of his son's request. In that moment, he could have responded with anger, but instead he chose to love. He knew his son's desire for freedom would lead him down a challenging path. "If this is truly what you want, my son," he replied softly, "I'll give it to you." With tears in his eyes, he divided his wealth between his sons. The young man felt exhilarated, ready to embrace the world. As he left the family home, the villagers whispered in disbelief, shaking their heads at the audacity of the boy. "What a fool he is," they murmured. The younger son traveled to a distant country, where he quickly fell into a life of extravagance. Parties, laughter, and fleeting friendships surrounded him as he squandered his fortune on reckless living. For a time, he felt invincible, the life of every gathering, basking in the glow of wealth. But the fun didn't last. One day, he woke up to find his pockets empty and his so-called friends gone. Alone and desperate, he wandered the streets, realizing he had hit rock bottom. "Even the pigs have it better than I do," he thought as he fed them on a farm, longing for a taste of what they had. It was a moment of clarity. "I'll return to my father," he decided, shame washing over him. "I'll tell him I've sinned and ask to be a servant." As he made his way home, memories of his father's kindness flooded back. What if he wouldn't accept him? What if he was met with anger? But deep inside, hope began to flicker. As he approached the village, his heart raced. Suddenly, from a distance, he saw a figure running toward him. It was his father, arms wide open, filled with love and compassion. "My son," he cried, embracing him tightly. "You're home." Overwhelmed with emotion, the younger son stammered, "I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father, full of joy, interrupted, "Bring the best robe and put it on him. Let's celebrate." As the feast began, the older son returned from the fields, confusion written all over his face. "What's going on?" he asked a servant. "Your brother has returned, and your father is celebrating." Anger boiled inside him as he refused to enter the house. The father came out to plead with him, "Son, everything I have is yours. But we must celebrate your brother's return. He was lost and is now found." The older son couldn't understand the joy. He felt overlooked, forgotten. "But I've been here all along working hard," he exclaimed. The father placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "My dear son, you've always been with me, and everything I have is yours. But today is a day of joy. Your brother has come back home,